Welcome everyone to today's Ninja Skill Booster, all about Microsoft To Do, one of our favorite tools, productivity tools. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands that we are all coming from today. I see lots of comments in the chat acknowledging the traditional owners and the lands. I'm coming to you from the land of Gurungai people, the northern beaches of Sydney. And I'd like to acknowledge their ongoing commitment to education, training, storytelling, and their care of culture, nature, land, air, water, and their elders, past, present, and emerging. So welcome everyone today. Today is all about Microsoft To Do for ninjas. So because it's for ninjas, there's a little bit of productivity ninja theory in here today as well. And I'm really excited to share this. This is one of our favorite tools that we train people in. So let's get started. For those of you that haven't met me, my name is Ninja Matt, or Matt Cowdroy officially, if you want to find me on LinkedIn. You're welcome to get in touch with me at any stage, or our business, Think Productive, through any of the normal channels. So if you haven't come across us before, please feel free to check us out. I know we'll have some new people with us here today. Welcome back to those of you that have been with us many times. Think Productive is a global company based out of the UK. Here in Australia and New Zealand, we have a team of people that are doing the great work around productivity ninja training and also leadership training. Our vision is creating a work revolution where everyone loves Mondays. This is what gets us out of bed in the morning. This is what keeps us motivating. My personal passion for this is the stress management and the work fulfillment aspect of what we do, helping you get more enjoyment out of your work and therefore out of your life as well. Now, today is one of our Ninja Skill Boosters, one of our free webinars. Our goal in these sessions is to provide a practical session to support our community. And we always make sure that they're motivating, informative, actionable, and that there's time for questions. So lots to share today. And once again, thanks for joining us. Today is looking into Ninja Weapon Savvy, one of our ninja characteristics, and the second brain. Microsoft To Do is a perfect example of a second brain and a perfect tool to use for our second brain. So we'll be looking at tips from our new workshop. Well, it was new at the start of this year, Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas. So today we're taking some of the content from that workshop to share with you and to also explain a little bit more about that workshop itself. And as usual, a giveaway at the end relating to that workshop. So stay till the end if you can. We always like to give some stuff away as well. So for those of you that have done the Productivity Ninja training, you'll recognize the beautiful 9 characteristics of the ninja. Today, we're really focused on number 3, Ninja Weapon Savvy. And the content I'm about to share is from this workshop, Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas, Bossing the Tech. So in this workshop, we talk about the cord model, which we also talk about in many of our productivity workshops. The cord model is a process for managing the massive amount of information that's coming at us every day through a funnel of decision-making points, if you like, through collecting everything, organizing, reviewing, doing. The doing is the most important because the do is where we actually do the work. Probably want to be spending 90% of our time in the doing. But initially, we need to spend some time getting our systems set up, getting our processes set up so that doing the doing comes easier. Now, this slide, many of you have seen, is a good example of what our brain is often like. Can you relate to this? Just put yes in the chat if you can relate to this. I always like to, these webinar formats are interesting because I can't see you all. So it's always nice to have a bit of a conversation here. Yes, very much. Yes, I see. Okay, I'm feeling it. Thank you. That totes my brain. Yes. So this is often what our brain is like. So we go through a process of doing a brain dump in many of our sessions, which is get everything out of our brain onto paper, which is a good starting point for the capture and collect part of the process. Now, these tasks, this information comes from more places than just our brain, however. We're getting stuff from all these different channels, all these different places. And is Microsoft Teams on this list? I'm just looking over here. Yeah, we've got Microsoft Teams on here. We've even got Slack over on the other side. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff coming at us. So we need a way to process this. But I'm curious to hear in the chat from you, what's the failure that can happen when this is happening? What's the possible failure point, or what's the possible resulting problem if we're not getting all this organized? If we're living with this busy brain, all this information just pouring in at us without having a process to sort it out. Beautiful. Oh, look at all this. Thank you. I'll read some of these out for the benefit of the recording. Overwhelm, paralysis, getting our priorities wrong. Yeah, big one. Capturing everything in one place and missing something. Distractions, missing the important stuff, missing or forgetting something. Yes, slipping through the cracks. Okay, so there's a real fear of missing things, forgetting things, unable to focus. Yeah, interesting one there, Shannon. It's if we've got all this distraction going on. Stress, burnout. Okay, nice, Amy. That's like going to what's the final outcome of all this? Might be burnout. The final outcome of all this is overwhelm, burnout, sleep deprivation, producing less than the best. Yes, Linda, in our Supercharger Team Comms workshop, one of the little mantras in there is the importance of good communication is to help people produce their best work. And I'm just linking that here now, thinking if we can have a better system for all this, we can produce our best work. And producing our best work is beautiful. That gives us fulfillment. So a little activity. I want to give you just a couple of minutes here just to get started on the idea of the brain dump, the idea of getting everything out of our brain. So just for 2 minutes, grab a pen and paper or open up a Word doc. For 2 minutes, just dump down everything you can think that's in your brain. And if you're at your desk and you want to grab a few post-it notes and capture those on the list, if you've got a few things scattered around or you've got a random to-do list stuck on the pinboard on the wall or something, see if you could just get all this in one big list. I'll just give you 2 minutes to do that. Do this activity rather than just sit there, because it'll really help bring this to light of what's going on in your brain. Okay, 2 minutes, go. All right. How did you find that? A couple of comments in the chat, please. How did you find that activity? Did you write down lots of things? Has it increased your sense of overload or overwhelm? I apologize if it has, but we're about to help with that. Did you get many things written down? Tidying my mind. Yeah, just make sure your chat is going to everyone rather than hosts and panelists. Then we all get to see it. There's a little drop down menu there. Helpful. It's a good challenge. Got a lot down and categorized. Wow. Excessive amount of things swirling around in my brain. Surprising how much spills out. Yes. Thanks. There's a lot going on in there. So we do that to show that there's a lot in here. So we need a second brain. In our ninja training, we talk about the importance of having a second brain, which is where we start thinking about Microsoft To Do as one option for our second brain. Because there's a lot of information, there's a lot of data, and creating somewhere to store all this is really important. This is part of the organized phase. David Allen, the author of one of the original really popular books on productivity, Getting Things Done, says your mind is for having ideas, not holding them. And I love this thought. Our brain is not good at remembering things. There's a law called Miller's Law that states we can only remember 7 things at any one point in time, plus or minus 2. So we need a system. The bottom line is we need a system. So we're going to have a look at Microsoft To Do. Microsoft To Do is a digital system where we can capture tasks, actions, manage our to-do list, manage our all of our work, if you like, and your life. So I'm going to do a live demonstration of Microsoft To Do here now. This one's just a screenshot. In our Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas workshop, we've got a really detailed video that we play, which takes you through all the technicalities and intricacies of Microsoft To Do. Today, I thought I'd just give you a live demo. So I'm just going to bring my Microsoft To Do over here for you. All right. Are you seeing my Microsoft To Do now? Just put yes in the chat if you are. I just want to make sure I'm still sharing the right screen here. Yes, thank you. So I'm just going to give you a bit of a rundown on this. So excuse me for looking over at this other screen. Microsoft To Do enables us to put all our tasks in here. These are the tasks. They can be grouped into different folders or different lists, if you like, we can add different lists down the bottom here. So we can add new lists or add new groups. A group is a collapsible folder of lists. It's a bit like our email folder structure, if you like. We just have all the different lists in here. Above the line, let's just have a look above the line. This is where things get interesting. So we can add all the tasks and everything. My day shows anything that's due for today, anything that has today's date on it, or anything that I've gone into and said, add it to my day. So my day gives us a nice summary of these are the things I need to do today. Important is anything I've starred as important. Sometimes I'll do that if I feel like if my day list is a bit big, I might go in and just star 3 or 4 of these, and then in the important folder or the important smart list, I can go, okay, these are the 3 or 4 things I'm starting on. Planned is everything that's got dates on it. So it'll show the whole list of things in there. Plan, I like planned because it shows everything that's coming up. All is just all tasks, whether they have dates or not. Things that have been assigned to me, because you can assign tasks to other people if you're sharing different folders or different lists. Flagged emails are interesting. If we flag an email in Outlook, it'll pop up here, which is really helpful. And tasks is just like a catch-all list where we can put default tasks that don't need to sit in a specific list down the bottom. So tasks is like where everything else can go if you don't want to add it to a particular list. I put a lot of things just in tasks because they don't need to go into specific lists at the bottom. I can see some questions popping up in the chat here. I'll come to those shortly. Now these, if you are setting up Microsoft To Do, you'll find it in your Office 365 suite. You can download it, so it's running off the desktop, or you can run it through a web-based version through your Office 365. Once you're in there, it's worthwhile coming in here and having a look at the settings. So click on your name and come and look at the settings. One of the settings that I recommend having a look at are the smart lists, because sometimes these are not turned on, and I find them really helpful, particularly the planned smart list and even the all smart list. So you do that by clicking on your name in the top left-hand corner and clicking on settings. When you're adding a task, so if I want to add a task in here, just put it down the bottom, testing for today's demo. I won't put today's because it's got smart dates as well. Testing for demo, that goes in there now because I've added that to my day. So that'll live in my day, but also in the tasks folder. It'll default to that folder. If you click on the list, you can add more details over the side here. It's set reminders, due dates. You can add files. You can even add subtasks if you like below it there. So you can have extra tasks and you can tick off as you get the subtasks done. You can add notes as well. So you can get into a lot of detail with these tasks if you want to. I like to keep it quite simple. You know, if we overcomplicate these systems, it becomes a chore. There's too much to do if we get into all that detail. So keep it relatively simple. I hope this quick demo has given you just a bit of an overview of what it's capable of. You can also put it on your phone, which is quite handy. Now, some comments here. Does it work with calendars? Well, you can put due dates and reminders in here, but it doesn't specifically sync to your Outlook. You can, in the web-based version, drag tasks to your Outlook. Is it similar to Task Planner? Yes. So Task Planner in Microsoft, or Planner, is linked with this. You'll see the same tasks appearing in both places. So if you're in Microsoft Teams, you'll see that it's called Tasks by Planner. Can you have completed lists? Yes, definitely. You can see what's been completed, and you can show those after you've ticked them off. When you complete a task, do you delete it? No. When you complete a task, it just gets crossed out and goes to the completed list. For example, like if I look at this, you can see here are all the completed tasks. So we can actually see what's been done, which is quite helpful. So many questions. I'm not going to have time to answer all these now. Come along to our Microsoft workshop if you want to learn more about this, get into more detail. I'm just going to look at this one. Where would you put your brain dump to capture all your tasks? Yeah, so your brain dump, Laura, would go on paper first or in a spreadsheet or a Word doc, and then you start sorting them out, put them into Microsoft To Do, and it's in here you can start adding dates, prioritizing things like that. You can allocate a task to someone else, but you've got to have a shared folder, a shared list, and when you've got that shared list, you can go to assign to over here. All right, I'm going to have to keep moving. So the purpose of today's session, remember, is to give you an overview of this, get you started. There are some categories for organizing the second brain, which can help. We recommend, you might want to take a note of these. Having some projects, if you're working on specific projects, you might have some, like a list for each project. You might have a folder for one-off actions that don't belong in any other list or any other project. I just use the tasks folder for that one. You may want to have a list for recurring tasks because you can set recurring tasks in there, happen every day or every week as reminders. So you can have a specific list for those if you like, or they can be within your other lists. You might have a waiting for list where you're waiting for other people to do things. You might have a delegate list to remind you of things you need to delegate. You might also have a good ideas park, which is where you can just capture ideas as they come up. They aren't necessarily tasks yet, they're just thoughts and ideas. All of these things are really helpful in your second brain. So you might want to grab that. I'll just grab a screenshot of that for you and put it in the chat. Using the Microsoft snipping tool, which is another part of our Microsoft workshop. I'll just put this in here for you. I think I can just paste that as an image. Nope, got to save it as a file. There we go. All right. No, can't paste that in there. I'll send that to you in the follow-up email. So I've got to save it as a file and then add the file. That's all right. Let's keep moving. So these are good groups. Laura's got a question here. Is it better to have waiting for and delegate to as tags if those tasks live within specific projects? Yeah, that's a good question, Laura. You can use hashtags. So I don't use them much, but I did have some hashtags in here. Like if you set a hashtag, like see how I've just searched up here, hashtag test, and it brings up any tasks that have hashtag test on them. So yeah, you could just use hashtags. Hashtags are great. And if you see how they're blue, as soon as you type a hashtag at the end of a task name, it turns it blue and it turns it into a hyperlink. So that can be really helpful. And then when you just click on that, it'll show you everything that's got that hashtag. So hashtags are a really nice way to tag things within there as well. All right, today we're not getting into all the specifics because it's only our short Ninja Skill Booster. Now, we also talk about the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule, when it comes to our brain dump and getting all these things captured into our second brain, is if it's something that can be done in less than 2 minutes, do it on the spot. Of course, it's got to be something that's important, not just noise. Do it on the spot rather than capturing it. If it's a tiny little task, there's no point capturing it in there, putting it in a list, looking at it later. We do like to talk about the 2-minute rule of just getting things done. So you might set yourself a half-hour window where you just get a lot of these 2-minute things done. Rather than storing them, capturing them, coming back to them later, you're just chewing up more time doing that. So a quick question, if we were in if we're in a Zoom meeting rather than a Zoom webinar. But a quick question, what excites you most about seeing this? I'd love to get some thoughts in the chat. And then I'm going to ask you, what are your concerns? What excites you most? Collaborating, yeah. So sharing lists and being able to assign tasks can be really helpful. Yes, Jane, you can just search for a word. That can be, if you've got a consistent word, you can use that instead of the hashtag. That works because the search is great. It's simple, organization, getting off the paper and onto an easy program. Easy to get your brain dumped down, capturing it all in one spot. Can get rid of paper to-do lists, yes. Now I use a bit of a combination. I've got everything in Microsoft to do, but I'll still sometimes just write myself a list of things that I'm doing for the next 3 hours or something like that. Just put that on a post-it note or something sometimes because my brain will see that. Being on top of things, the possibility of creating space in your brain. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits here. Now, here's an interesting question. What are your concerns? What are your concerns? Any reservations or concerns? And we got a bit of a mixture in the chat here because we're still going with some of the benefits. Forgetting to look at the list, a long to-do list I never get to. Everyone else is using it. Another thing to maintain, too much on the list, keeping it up to date. Yeah, these are some concerns, making it a habit. It really is about keeping it simple, using it regularly. Once you start using it regularly, you'll see the benefit of it and it becomes part of your workflow, part of your process. Old data pops up on the lists. Yeah, Amy, if you've got a lot of flagged emails, they'll all be appearing in there. A lot of people have old flagged emails, so there might be a bit of a tidy up needed. So you might need some time to set this up. In our Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas workshop, there's time to build this. It's a 6-hour workshop where we work through this and other Microsoft tools. The other thing I didn't mention is how Microsoft Teams integrates with Microsoft To Do. This is a huge thing. You can ask Microsoft Teams with a chat message or a channel post. You can say, add this to Microsoft To Do. And it will add it as a task to Microsoft To Do with a link back to Teams. So you don't lose things in Teams, which is really helpful. So much you can do in here, but I do recommend keeping it simple. So we've got a Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas public workshop coming up. So I recommend having a look at that. I'll put the link in the chat for you. It's coming up on the 2nd of October. I do have a giveaway for you coming up. As you know, we love to give things away. So stay on the line here. I'll stop the recording and do that shortly. But our Microsoft for Productivity Ninjas workshop is coming up. Public version, so you can just buy a ticket and come along. We also run these as in-house versions for our clients. So if you'd like to run this in-house for a team of people, please get in touch. Here's a list of the 1 or 2 pages of all the workshops we offer. Just as a reminder, there's so many different topics that we can offer for you and your team. So please get in touch if you'd like to look at any of these, the Productivity Ninja work, email management, so getting inbox to zero, fixing meetings, project management, 6 weeks to Ninja, hybrid working, hybrid teams, delegation, influencing, persuading, coaching, feedback, like we need to talk, emotional intelligence. So many workshops here that we can offer. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming along today. I'm going to stop the recording now and offer you the giveaway. Thank you for watching the recording. Hope you found this really useful. And please get in touch if you have any questions.